Hello, my name is Barak Pelman. I'm an architect, educator, and a researcher at Bezalel Academy of Art and Design, where I'm also the director of the Hybrid Pedagogy Lab, a new research group focusing on design education and pedagogy. I'm a faculty member at the Architectural School, where I lead the unit dealing with the role of material and technology in architectural education. My PhD thesis, which I'm writing at the School of Computer Science and Engineering at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, focuses on the role of contemporary craft in architectural education. In this presentation, I will present an ethnographic study contributing to the development of a new theoretical model that explains informal learning processes in architectural education. Most ethnographically based research on architectural education focuses on formal teaching events. It mainly analyzes meeting of students and teachers in tutorial sessions, design reviews, and formal presentations. In architectural education, the informal attributes of learning are incredibly dominant. Here, students develop the architectural design knowledge by engaging with complex and open-end problems as they work on design projects. Their learning processes are based on practicing professional workflows and decision-making, cycling between tangible and virtual objects and reflecting in and on their actions. These learning processes are difficult to trace, as they typically occur in different venues and within complex ecologies of human and non-human agents. They can happen everywhere, in studios, workshops, cafes, and private rooms. They can happen anytime, even within formal learning sessions, and in various modes of interaction, such as within social, material, digital, or hybrid of all. In order to address this difficulty, I choose a special site for my research, a unique architectural design master program where students live and learn on campus. The campus meets all their living and learning needs, providing dormitories, a kitchen, a dining room, a wood workshop, a fab lab, and a library, all in one building. This learning setting provides a unique opportunity to follow the students' informal learning interactions, since most of them happen in the same place. The Master in Advanced Ecological Building in Biocities is an 11-month academic program aimed to train professionals with advanced expertise in the design and construction of ecological building and biocities. Biocities are defined in the program brochure as cities that functions more like forests, like self-sufficient ecosystems that produce the resources they need to thrive and that promotes life. To reach that goal, the program was positioned in a unique place and designed around few pedagogical principles. In terms of the site, the program is situated on 100 hectares of farmland located inside Collserola Natural Park. The park is a forest-like protected area bordering the city of Barcelona in Spain. Collserola Natural Park is really only partial natural. As part of the Barcelona metropolitan area, it hosts human activity, buildings, and infrastructure, and it's highly regulated by plan, laws, and enforcement agencies. However, it feels natural compared to the city environment, with less density of artifacts and more biodiversity. From the program point of view, Collserola Natural Park acts in two ways. It is a source of inspiration and investigation of ecological dynamics that promotes self-sufficiency, and it serves as a source of material for the program academic needs. The pedagogical principles of the program include the following: immersive learning. The students, the program coordinators, the Fab Lab manager, and the housekeeper live together on campus. They all study, design, make, socialize, sleep, cook, eat, and rest in the same place. The students have full access to all campus facilities, the site for the design interventions, and the natural park surrounding them. Learning by doing. The students are encouraged to experiment with material and test the design ideas by constructing physical models. This principle is based on the belief that architects' learning processes are significantly enhanced through hands-on engagement with materials and fabrication processes. The last 4 months of the program adopts a design-build pedagogical model, wherein the students are jointly engaged with designing and fabricating a full-size timber prototype. Self-sufficiency. The program educates for self-sufficiency as a design value, and thus encourage the students to source the material for their living and learning needs locally. wood, earth, water, and food from the park, other materials, as well as expertise and equipment from the metropolitan area of Barcelona. So in a way, the program sees itself as part of a larger Barcelona metropolis and can source from the woodland as much as from the urban land. Learning from each other. Most learning exercises in the program are designed for teamwork. To facilitate learning between students, the director recruits students from different nationalities and cultural background, and with different skill sets. In the 2021-22 academic year, the students group consists of 18 students from 12 nationalities, primarily architects in training, but also they had a carpenter, civic engineers, and software developer. Socio-material approaches, such as actor network theory, complexity theory, and spatiality theory, have attracted a growing number from educational researchers in the last few decades. They are potentially useful for studying informal and self-directed learning in contemporary architectural education program, as they offer a framework to examine the somehow messy way knowledge is generated in those settings and the social, material, and digital interaction that characterize them. Within the socio-material framework, humans and materials are treated similarly. They are all examined through their performance and the way they act on each other. Materials are seen as active entities. They are performatives and do not just react to human intentions and forces. They mediate, change human intentions and motivations and extract feelings. In this example, the students use a special glue, which had a very short drying time. This property made them plan the choreography of gluing very carefully. They made rehearsals, or dry runs, as they call it. And in real time, it leads to somehow stressful feelings. Learning is not conceived as an individual, human-centered process, or simply a social achievement. In social material approaches, learning is instead viewed as an outcome of collaboration between humans and non-human agents, or as an effect of multiple interaction within assemblage of human and materials. In actor network theory, assemblage is also viewed as networks. Networks are dynamics in their size and the nature of the relationship between their entities. They can change size and shapes as more entities join or leave them, and their entities can change how they relate to each other. However, network tends to stabilize over time. When this happens, a network can become a material and behave as an actor within another emerging network. For example, in the process of developing a physical model, different actors come together. The students that work on the model, the materials considered and selected, the physical and the digital environment where the model is developed, the software and the hardware that is involved in the process, and so forth. The realization of the model embodied a whole series of material, digital, and social interaction that produce different kinds of knowledge. These may include craft skills, understanding material properties, workflow, social relations, etc. When concluded, this physical model is described as a stabilized network and can join as an actor to a different network that will emerge in a different context. For example, it can act as a subject of drawing exercise for other students together with papers, pencils, rulers, etc. I suggest that by looking at the way humans, like students, tutors, experts, etc., and materials like physical and virtual objects, models, drawings, communication and fabrication techniques, when we look how these act together to produce knowledge, such a materials approach to architectural education research allow us to understand better informal learning processes. So data was collected during 8 months between December 21 and August 22. I was able to gain both students and faculty trust and was welcome to participate actively in any formal and informal learning activities. I was also granted access to the student digital communication channels, online whiteboards, and cloud storage. Most visits were during the time between formal meetings. I adopted the social material approach and followed what the student did in their daily and routine actions. Documenting the event was done to capture as many actors as possible and describes the dynamics of socio-material assemblage. Therefore, I also collected external information on some actors and linked this information to the field notes using hyperlinks. For example, if the students use a unique technology, visited another site, or worked on some documents, linked to other sources of information related to that technology, that site, or these documents were added. And in this way, the sets of field notes become a network of primary data themselves. After each visit, I extracted a few key issues, which later serves me in the analysis. To simplify data management, the metadata of each session was collected in a spreadsheet. Timing, context, link to images, audio file, videos, and documents were placed, as well as the summary of key issues from each site visit. From the early stage of reviewing such a rich and wide-ranging dataset, it was clear that it would only be possible to address some of the issues it unfolded. In this study, I followed a macro-level analysis and therefore expanded my unit of analysis from a single sentence to the entire dataset of a single visit. Thus, for each visit, I reviewed the field notes, images, videos, and associated document and extracted the key issues that emerged from them. The process was performed within the course duration in an ongoing collection and analysis process. These key issues were then aggregated and negotiated with first and second order themes, which were then aggregated under large theoretical dimensions. These theoretical dimensions were continually contested and arranged regarding to existing literature in my own learning and teaching experience. The first theoretical dimension is design-learn cycles. I observe that the designing and learning processes were so tightly interwoven that I choose to represent them with the term design-learn as one entangled process. The design-learn cycle usually starts with an open-end design challenge, also known as design brief. In architecture, this challenge has two main components. The first is programmatic, related to the use, and the second is a site, related to where the design should be placed. Both components invite the student to engage in the different design-learn activities. They learn about the program and the site through reading textual material, visiting the site, and experiencing its character, seeing other projects with similar use, and experiences issues and solutions to design problem, analyzing precedents in the literatures, and so forth. Parallelly, the students created sketches and models of design concept that help them better understand the site's limitation and potential, the design issues that characterize the program, and therefore to understand the design challenge deeper and better. This contingent relationship between making design alternatives and learning resembles Rittel and Weber description of the connection between understanding a planning problem and solving it. In their own word, the information needed to understand the problem depends upon one's idea for solving it. Although the idea of co-evolution of the program solution was later validated by Dorris and Cross, they did not address pedagogical question or the way materials and technological engagement influence learning. The outcome of design-learn is usually design concept, represented by drawing and models, and information about the site and the program, and these represented by text, images, and diagrams. At some point, there were breaks for reflections on the process, the information gathered, and the design concept produced. Informal reflection usually included the student themselves and sometimes also experts and colleagues, and took the shape of informal discussions. Formal reflections took the form of a design review, a presentation, or a critique, where usually the teacher directed the discussions. One way or another, the reflection lit up tacit values, interests, and aesthetic embedded in the design concept, established knowledge generated through the previous phases, and drew new direction for developing the project. These new directions set new design challenges and needs for knowledge, and then, therefore, started a new process cycle. Many design-learn cycles were performed independently and without the presence of the teacher. Only occasionally where the teacher involved in the reflection and designing new challenges through tutorials, review sessions, and formal presentations. The second theoretical dimension is called dynamic social material assemblage. In this proposed learning model, design challenges and design concepts and information are the product or outcome of design, learn, and reflecting activities. These activities are taking place within rich socio-materials environments. Students read the information found in the internet or in books and magazines, draw sketches on tracing papers, made models from wood, cardboard, and other materials, experience and tested materials, and used tools and technology to process them. In every stage we visited, I saw assemblage of materials and humans interacted and generating knowledge. Socio-material assemblage are dynamics, and their compositions are untraceable. They change size and actor compositions and were only partly controlled by the students. People joined and left, sometimes actively participated, and sometimes faded to side conversations. Digital actors such as apps based on crowd wisdom and AI were incorporated, feeding the information from unknown sources. Slack messages were pushed, and other students updating on design changes in new directions. Emails and news notification beeped and diverted the conversation to different directions. Tools, materials, and technology affecting the way students interacted and so forth. For example, in a biodiversity survey the students performed in April on their intervention site, they use an AI-based app to identify birds through sounds and crowd wisdom-based app to identify flora through imaging. For the AI-based actor, it was impossible to know the source of the information, and for the crowd wisdom-based app, you couldn't control the composition of the people who reacted to your question. The combination and dynamic of social material affected students' interaction with actor and therefore their skills development. Interaction with an actor or a group of actors demands skill. There are different skills depending on the material, social, and digital interactions and different sources to learn them. For example, students with the goal of developing a construction detail to connect two pieces of net developed physical stitching skills. Other students with a mission to find the correct cutting shape of that net develop skills in computer physics simulations. Material interactions added a new level of experiential knowledge to the previously acquired theoretical one. Students often reacted with surprise at the actual experience of dimension, weight, and behavior. Here is an example of students testing the behavior of a self-made beam to a spread load. The student fabricated the beam, carried them, tested them. Their experience gave embodied meaning to the dimension and the simulated number they met in their software. The third theoretical dimension is context as actor network. Apart from the socio-material assemblage, which could be physically noticeable in our observations, I observed wider actor network that affected the combination of the local social material assemblies and the students' learning trajectories. I call them context actor network and identified two types of them: environmental context and organizational context. Although these contexts were less sensitive to student control in comparison to socio-material assemblage, they were also dynamic in nature and were to some extent affected by the student actions. Environmental context included weather conditions, the appearance of pollution or insects in the air, the facilities and the design of the campus, and the affordance of its immediate surrounding. For example, stormy weather kept students in-house, limited them from using campus facilities and virtual tools for their investigations. Nice weather pulled them outside, enabled different activities within different socio-material assemblages. Organizational context. These include the academic structure, deadlines, exams, and times of formal reviews, logistics aspects affecting delivery time of materials and expert services, and group work structure within the student cohort. For example, I noticed that students work differently if a formal review was approaching than when formal review was far ahead. When working towards a formal review, the students fair decided on the structure of their presentation and the supporting documents they need to produce. Then they learn only the aspects that contributed to the completion of their presentation, focusing on how to support their design proposal within the best digital graphical communication strategies. When the formal review was far ahead, the students worked more freely and explored more risky design directions. Their design concepts were sketchier, mainly using physical tracing paper and pencil to develop them. The analysis shows how knowledge production in design-learn processes is sensitive to the compositions and dynamics of the social material assemblage it enacted through. The availability of materials and technological interactions leads to skill development and a new level of experiential knowledge to the existing theoretical one. This new knowledge often reveals new design challenges and therefore leads to new learning activities. What are the implications of these findings for a course design? What do they mean for the teacher? Understanding informal learning processes in architectural education may assist teachers in better planning learning conditions. In social material terms, teachers can design social material assemblages and other actor networks. These may include learning environments, access to expert and technologies, community engagement, link to material flows, and future research and education opportunities. In this way, teachers can make learning more effective and more inclusive. Effective because they can affect learning processes even in time where they're not there. This ability is incredibly valuable, not only in informal learning setting, but also when mobility is restricted, such as in time of pandemics, environmental crises, and political instabilities. Inclusive because the teachers can design learning conditions suitable for a wide range of learners. Providing access to a variety of materials and learning conditions can address a wide range of learning preferences and allow richer constructs of knowledge combination to enable more profound understanding. So if early design educators were criticized for their teacher-centered approach to education, in a time for a shift towards a student-centered approach, the social materials approach to architectural education raises the possibility for a network approach to education. I believe that by viewing teachers and students as actors within larger social material assemblages or other learning actor networks, we can develop a more holistic, effective, and inclusive approach to design education. Thank you for watching this presentation.